Touch the bone behind your ear, not the lobe, not the soft part, the hard ridge. Press into it with 2 fingers and just hold. If you're past 40, there's a decent chance what you feel under there isn't soft and pliable. It feels like a guitar string pulled too tight. That tension didn't show up last week. It's been accumulating for years. And while it's been sitting there, it's been quietly rearranging the geometry of your face. I came across this connection by accident. I wasn't investigating facial aging at all. I was looking at neck pain patterns, specifically a subset of people whose neck tension would not resolve regardless of intervention. And the imaging kept pointing to the same cluster: chronic contraction in the muscles converging at the mastoid process, that ridge of bone you're touching right now. 3 muscles meet there like ropes tied to the same post. The sternocleidomastoid, which is that thick band running from behind your ear down to your collarbone. The posterior belly of the digastric, which connects that same bone to the underside of your jaw. And the splenius capitis, which dives from the mastoid down into the upper spine. When these 3 muscles work properly, contracting during movement, releasing at rest, they hold your head in a balanced position over your spine, and your face stays where developmental biology put it. The scaffolding holds. When they stop releasing, the scaffolding starts to drag. Let me back up to why they stop releasing, because the physics of this is more straightforward than people expect, and the consequences are more severe than almost anyone realizes. Your head weighs between 10 and 12 pounds. That's roughly the weight of a bowling ball, balanced on a flexible column. For every inch your head drifts forward of your spine, and I want to be precise about this because the number matters, the effective load on your cervical musculature increases by approximately 10 pounds. 1 inch forward, 22 pounds of effective load. 2 inches, which is conservative for someone who spends 4 more hours a day looking at a screen, 32 pounds. Those muscles behind your ear are part of the system managing that load. They grip to prevent your head from pitching forward off your body. And over months and years, they lose the capacity to do the other half of their job. They forget how to let go. That was the surface layer. Muscle gets tight, stays tight, pulls on things. Straightforward enough. But there was a pattern underneath that surface that I couldn't walk away from. People started coming in concerned about facial changes. Not fine lines, not texture, not the things the skincare industry sells solutions for. Structural changes. The jawline blurring on one side and holding on the other. A fold beside the mouth deepening asymmetrically. One cheekbone sitting lower. And when I started correlating these changes with where these individuals carried their tension, which side they slept on, which ear held the phone, which direction their habitual head rotation favored, the asymmetry in the face matched the asymmetry in the tension, without exception. A composite started forming across dozens of these cases. Same shape every time. Someone in their 50s, primarily desk-based work, no unusual health history, doing everything the conventional approach recommends. Retinol, SPF, collagen peptides, and still watching one side of their face settle like slow erosion while the other held its ground. The side that dropped corresponded to the side with greater mastoid tension. I started looking for exceptions to this correlation, and I could not find them. Your face is a topographic map. The landmarks people read, consciously or not, when they assess age are specific coordinates. The height of the cheekbone relative to the lower orbital rim, the angle where the jaw meets the ear, the depth of the fold from nose to mouth, the distance between your lower eyelid and the apex of your cheek. These coordinates should hold relatively steady through your 40s and into your 50s. Collagen metabolism shifts them gradually, sure, but what I was tracking wasn't gradual, and it wasn't uniform. It was directional. The coordinates were migrating south and medially, and the migration was traceable to a single mechanical anchor, behind the ear. The reason those muscles reach your face, the reason a contraction behind your ear shows up in your jawline, is a structure most people have never encountered: the SMAS, superficial musculoaponeurotic system. It's a continuous sheet of connective tissue that begins at your collarbone, wraps up over the platysma, which is the broad, thin muscle blanketing the front of your neck, and extends across the entirety of your face just beneath the skin. If you've ever read about facelifts, this is what surgeons lift. It's the load-bearing layer. And the critical point is that it's continuous. The tension in your neck and the tension in your face are not neighboring events. They are the same event expressed across one unbroken fabric. When the muscles behind your ear contract and stay contracted, they pull on the mastoid process. The mastoid process tugs on the fascial origins of the SMAS, and that mechanical load transmits laterally and inferiorly across the face. Your map isn't just fading with time. The board it's pinned to is tilting. Someone is pulling one corner down. The wrinkles that form, the folds that deepen, the contour that softens, those aren't primarily the silk aging. They're the consequence of the pull. Take a room of 50 adults over 45. Occupational postural data suggests that somewhere between 60 and 70% of habitual desk workers in that age group have measurable anterior head carriage. That's 30 to 35 people in that room walking around with a chronic mechanical drag on their SMAS that no serum, no peptide, no retinoid can counteract. Because it isn't a skin problem, it's a tension problem expressing itself through the skin. But here's what pulled me to the third layer, and this is the part that shifted everything for me. Tight muscles should release. You stretch them, you rest, you do the mobility work, they let go. These don't. And the reason they don't isn't muscular, it's neurological. The motor neurons supplying the SCM and its neighbors have adapted to a new resting tone, a higher baseline of activation that the nervous system now treats as default. Your brain has recalibrated. It no longer registers the contraction as contraction. It files it as neutral. So when you consciously try to relax your neck, you're fighting against your own nervous system's definition of relaxed. The muscle is shortened and firing, and your brain is calling that home. That's not a flexibility problem. That's a calibration problem. The map analogy I gave you, it doesn't quite hold anymore. It captured the drift, but it missed the hidden machinery. What's closer to the reality is a stage production. The audience sees the front, the lighting, the backdrop, the positions of every set piece. That's your face as the world encounters it. But everything visible from the front is controlled by rigging backstage. Ropes and pulleys and counterweights that determine where every element hangs. The muscles converging behind your ear are part of that backstage rigging. And what's been happening over a decade of screen hours and forward posture and sleep side preference is that the ropes on one side have been tightening, a quarter turn per year, so gradually that nobody in the audience noticed the set shift. The production looks heavier, less lifted, older, but nobody checked backstage. You've been treating the stage front. The change originates in the wings. My jaw is involved in this chain. My whole anterior chain is involved. That's a larger claim than I intended to make, and I want to be careful with it. But the fascial continuity from the feet, through the anterior compartment of the legs, through the abdominal wall, up through the platysma and SMAS to the face is documented anatomical reality. It's one tensional network. The mastoid convergence point is one node in that network, but it's a decisive node because it's the final relay station before the face. It's where the accumulated postural tension of your entire front body concentrates before expressing itself in the structures people actually see. So the protocol. Let me lay this out in 3 levels, because not everybody needs the same entry point, and not everybody is ready for the same depth. Level 1, the minimum. You find the mastoid process, that ridge behind your ear, and you apply gentle, sustained, static pressure with 2 fingers. Not massage, not circular rubbing, just pressure. Held for 60 to 90 seconds while you allow the weight of your head to shift backward over your spine. You are not stretching the muscle. You are providing the nervous system with a sensory input it hasn't received in years. The experience of that tissue under sustained compression without threat. A signal that says deactivation is safe. Once a day, morning is better. Those muscles have been in a shortened position all night, especially if you sleep on your side. 60 seconds, that's level 1. Level 2, you add the platysma. Tilt your head back slightly, open your mouth, and pull the corners of your lips downward into an exaggerated frown. You'll feel the thin sheet muscle across your entire throat engage. Hold 5 seconds, release 5 seconds. 8 repetitions. What you're doing is giving the platysma a full contraction relaxation cycle it probably hasn't completed in months. A muscle that never fully contracts cannot fully relax. You're restoring the range. This level pairs with level 1. It extends the release from the point source behind the ear into the broad fascial sheet covering the anterior neck and lower face. Level 3, the structural layer. This is where it gets genuinely involved, and I want to say clearly that most people benefit from more guidance here than any single explanation provides. The forward head posture driving the entire cascade originates not in the neck, but in the thoracic spine, the mid-back. Trying to reposition your head by pulling it backward without first opening the thoracic curve is like trying to straighten the last link of a chain without addressing the bend 3 links back. A foam roller positioned along the thoracic spine, 2 minutes, arms overhead, letting gravity open the anterior chest wall. The head repositions as a consequence of the thoracic opening. The mastoid muscles unload as a consequence of the head repositioning. The SMAS tension releases as a consequence of the muscular unloading. Each level builds. The first is the emergency input. The second is the recalibration. The third is the structural correction that makes the first 2 permanent. And the liberation in understanding this, the thing that I think matters more than the protocol itself, is recognizing that the process you were told was inevitable is not structural destiny. Something is pulling your face. Pulls have a source. Sources are addressable. Every assumption stacked on top of that original misunderstanding dissolves once the mechanical chain is visible. That it's skin deep, that it's collagen driven on a timeline you can't influence, that the only interventions are topical or surgical. Those aren't wrong in every case. Some facial aging is collagen mediated. Some does benefit from topical support. I want to be honest about that rather than overstate the mechanical contribution. But the component that nobody's addressing, the directional, asymmetric, tension-driven component, that's the piece the current model misses. And it's the piece you can reach with your own hands. That composite I described earlier, the pattern across those cases, once the mastoid tension was addressed through graduated release, wasn't dramatic overnight reversal. It was coordinate correction, slow, measured in weeks. The map stops drifting. The stage set stops settling. The asymmetry narrows by degrees. The jaw angle sharpens incrementally. Not because something was added to the face, because something was removed from behind the ear. You're not the audience watching your face change from the seats. You're the stage manager. The rigging is accessible. The pulleys are muscles you can reach, and the ropes are fascial lines you can influence. What I haven't told you, and it's the part that keeps pulling me back into this investigation, is what happens in the other direction. When someone who has held this tension pattern for 20 or 30 years begins a sustained release protocol, the face doesn't just stop its descent. The SMAS starts to redistribute in a way that doesn't track with any existing model of either aging or rejuvenation. The coordinates don't just stabilize, some of them migrate back. Not all, not symmetrically, and not in the pattern you'd predict if you were simply reversing the original drag. Something else is happening in the tissue response. Something I've been tracking across cases for months, and I still don't have a framework that accounts for the full picture. That's a different layer of this, and I'm still in the middle of it.